saying if it's a certain distance, then they categorize you under multidimensional.
And I'm saying
the word looks very big, therefore
and I'm saying those who are earning
poverty, food poverty,
absolutely, and those who are earning less than $1 per day, who have been categorized as those who are living
another
in
problem
abject.
with
Just
that
remember,
number.
just remember.
$1 per day. $1 is 1,500. Look. 1,500. Okay, that's a lot of money for many people in Nigeria. If you say, look, and that takes us to.
So you do not agree.
There's a lot you can do. In Guanipa, there's people that sell just like in Port Harcourt, Boli and fish on the roadside. There you eat for 1,500. If you know where you're coming from, you say you're on minimum wage. If you're on minimum wage, you can't be talking minimum wage at the same time you're talking of eating in
Dr. Fasua,
very important
this government that you work for landed and is planning on the data that we have. I'm surprised that you are disagreeing with those data. Yeah, but the fact that those who are living in abject poverty and defined as such by these bodies that are bringing out this data. See, but the question here, let's look at it from the prism and the glasses of the number one man, that thick glasses of the number one man. What is he seeing? Is he seeing reality? That absolutely. There is a minimum of 70 million Nigerians who are really in it, who are really in that poverty bracket.
Oh no, yes. Indeed,
is he seeing them?
Indeed, of course, he's seeing them. Remember that what my concern is. Look, what exactly we have to know exactly what we want to achieve. If, for example, we were coming from 80, 90 million and it's down to 60 million or 70 million, that is an achievement. If we want to take it down to zero, that is not going to be possible. There's no way in the world where people don't suffer. There's no economy that you won't find people who are suffering. In fact, in Nigeria, because of what we call social capital, is not too, here is a place where you could go and stay with your brother or your sister, get something to eat and so on. You could even stay with them for a few months. Abroad, when you are down and out, you miss your rent and you don't have a job or whatever, they kick you out. You from sleeping on the streets, you'll be going to collect the dole just to survive from one day to the other. There's so many people. I mean, it's the same thing. We know about all of the way these things work, So we know that. But look, we're not going to take on any and every statistic. For example, the one that says $2 per day, people should earn $2 per day. $2 from where to where, to say that is where you begin to determine who is poor. In the villages of Nigeria, you don't even need $1 to survive in a day, where you have your farm, and you can actually eat something and you're okay.
Dr. Tope Fasua. To understand this context, first, Dr. Tope Fasua is a senior, I think he's a special advisor to Mr. President on economic affairs. He holds a bachelor's degree from the Ondo State University. In fact, he was a best graduating student, right? He holds a master's degree from the London Metropolitan University in financial markets and derivations, right? He also holds a doctorate degree. He holds a PhD from Walden University, United States. So, widely read. He's CEO of a consulting firm before he was appointed. He's a former presidential candidate or aspirant. So he has a sterling academic and professional background. So you understand clearly. And so this will help you to understand why we have a lot of intellectual manipulation going on our system. You heard him. You could from this particular point, if a special advisor to the president on economic affairs will have the guts to say that to us in public, understand why the president is this clueless and this worthless and valueless and cannot answer the yearnings of Nigerian people, when people like Dr. Tope sits as special advisor on economic affairs. That's him there saying categorically, in plain terms, that it is easier to live in Nigeria than to live in New York, because you can afford to have $1 get you a meal in Nigeria, but in New York, for example, you can't dare to have even $10 to get you a meal. This is telling you how tone deaf these guys are, and then how disconnected our leadership are with the reality. And he's there trying to derail, trying to undermine the statistics that put Nigerians over 133 million Nigerians, about 63% of Nigerians, in what it's now referred to as multi-dimensional poverty. When these Nigerians do not have access to pipe-borne water, to electricity or power, to stability of life, to good standard of living, Dr. Tope, who advises Mr. President, says that we are demanding for too much, that the president has done so much for us. That what is there to eat bole on the roadside, that it is okay. Again, when I hear this narrative of when this guy says that it is easier to live in Nigeria, like I said in one of my previous videos, I am Mr. Common Sense, my name is Joel, I will never join in the conversation of whether you should leave Nigeria or not. That's your business. Nobody cajoled me to leave. If you have got stuff going on for you, you are protected, you are secured, you are safe, whatever the outcome is, you can stay. I was in Nigeria for over several years of my life, over several decades. So it's not a big deal. You can stay there and survive, right? So it's okay. But one of the things that you will not do is to begin to use this intellectual manipulation to deceive people. How many Nigerians can afford to make $1 consistently every day? Whereas in the US, they are trying to compare it. At least 80% of this population can at least boast of being able to make $50 at least. And of course, we understand there's no country where all of this crisis, inflation is everywhere. But the fact that we have gotten food inflation of up to 35% should worry a sitting government who is serious. But people like Tope, who thinks that we are demanding for too much and has the ears of Mr. President, is the reason why we are where we are. And this is not to excuse Mr. President. Of course, he's clueless and worthless. He doesn't understand what leadership is. There is a total disconnect from the realities of Nigeria. And with consistent conversations like this, you get to know that there is no hope at sight. Because it's okay to agree that there is so much we can do. There's so much areas that we can cover. But currently now we know that we don't have all of the resources, but we will do it. Than to listen to a man that says they have done enough. In short, we are asking for too much. Nigerians are asking for too much. Why can't you eat bole and fish for less than 1,500 naira? Why are you asking for too much? That's what it means. A government that do not believe that the people deserve so much. A government that has disconnected from realities. A government that doesn't know whether Nigerians can have. How many Nigerians can make $10? How many? For more than half of our population comfortably sit in what is now being referred to as multi-dimensional poverty. And again, I hear this conversation every time where they say that if you travel abroad, you think you are jackpot, you travel abroad, you are not going to, if you are hungry, you go to your father, you go to your mother, you go to your sister. See, that's one of the symptoms of a failed state. When you now begin to depend on relational stability rather than institutional support, it's failure. Again, when you now begin to believe in relational stability, I need my father, I need my mother. There are many 40 years old that cannot afford to feed themselves. They are back to their parents' house. There are many young girls who have attempted to leave their father's and mother's house, who have attempted to leave their boyfriends. All of these things we do on social media, trying to avoid young girls. When you get to touch realities, you will know that it is not possible. In growing society, institutional support is what help people to get stability. And as much as you can support, you support them. But that's why everybody in Nigeria now is now automatically poor. Because there are only a few. Somebody said a while ago, and I agree. There used to be a middle class in Nigeria. But as APC took over power, they deliberately orchestrated the removal of the middle class. So there is a few minute percentage of the rich. The rest of us fall into poor. That even the man that used to earn 500,000 cannot beat his chest to say he's rich. You dare not die it. Because should you be hit by the worst of... Can we talk about health infrastructures? Can we talk about educational support? Talk about what? Talk about security? People like Tope are the problem, the reason why we are. And to know that Tope came from an academic background, a professional background into presidency or into politics, to now hear him talk like this seems too clear that there's no hope. Obviously, there is no hope. And I say that to you. Until we flush out all of these intellectual manipulators and deceivers from our system and allow people that are in touch with realities, people that can feel the pulse, the palpable frustrations and desolation of Nigerians, will never get it right. This is a problem. This to me, I have sat and read Tope, I have listened to Tope. Of course, I knew that it's almost going to be of this. I'm not too surprised. Because of course, the smartest of all will become the worst of us when you join this gang. He has been infested with maggot in his brain. Forget, of course, there are people that believe that, okay, there's also the ethnic connotation to all of this. All of these guys, the professor from the great professor has now stayed quiet. He's now one of the most, he has, Professor Wole Soyinka has not changed, there you go, the almighty Sagwin has now become the calmest of all. We don't hear him again. He doesn't gossip. He doesn't write letters. He doesn't hold interviews again. Because your brother is in power. God will judge all of you. And like I said again, it is on this premise I begin to come to reality that we have failed. No longer a failing state. We have failed. When a government official holding an office as sensitive as Special Advisor on Economic Affairs can say this and say it without conscience in view. Forget about it. Forget. I'm out of here.